It's done, she says simply. How did he take it? About as well as you'd expect. A lot of denials at first, then anger, then begging. I left the divorce papers on his desk. You work fast. I've been suspicious for months, Eddie. You just gave me the proof I needed to stop second-guessing myself. At 4:30, my phone rings again. This time it's Paul. Eddie, man, we need to talk. There's been a huge mistake. Has there? Bridget is saying crazy things. She thinks I'm having an affair with Sam. You know that's not true, right? You know I would never do that to you. The casual way he lies to my face is almost impressive. If I didn't have photos of his truck at the motel, if I didn't have screenshots of his messages, I might actually believe the hurt confusion in his voice. Where are you right now, Paul? I'm at Murphy's. Can you meet me? We need to straighten this out before it gets any worse. Murphy's Diner, the same place where I showed Bridget the evidence of her husband's betrayal just a few hours ago. Paul either has a sense of irony or no sense at all. I'll be right there. I find Paul in a corner booth, looking like a man whose world is falling apart. His hair is messed up, his tie is loose, and there are papers scattered on the table in front of him, divorce papers from the looks of it. Eddie, thank God. You have to help me convince Bridget that this is all a mistake. I slide into the booth across from him and pull out my phone. Without saying a word, I show him a photo of his truck parked next to Sam's car at the Riverside Motel. Paul's face goes white. That's not what it looks like. I swipe to the next photo. This one shows him walking toward room 12. I've been trying to call you all day. I know. Did you hear what happened at work? They're saying I was having an inappropriate relationship with Vince. It's completely false, but someone sent them fake evidence, and now they won't listen to anything I say. I sit down in my recliner and look at my wife. Really look at her. When did she become such a stranger to me? Fake evidence? It has to be fake. Someone doctored emails and photos to make it look like Vince and I were having an affair. HR showed me things that looked real, but I know they can't be because nothing happened. Nothing happened. Nothing happened, she repeats firmly. I swear to you, Eddie, I have never been unfaithful to you. I pull out my phone and show her the same photo I showed Paul. Sam's car next to a pickup truck at the Riverside Motel. Whose truck is that, Sam? She stares at the photo, and I can see her mind racing, trying to find an explanation that doesn't involve the truth. I don't know. Why are you showing me this? I swipe to the next photo. This one shows her walking toward the motel. How about now? Do you recognize the woman in this picture? Sam's composure finally cracks. She starts crying, but they're not tears of remorse. They're tears of frustration, of someone who's been caught and doesn't like the consequences. You've been spying on me. I've been documenting your lies. How long? Long enough to know about Paul, long enough to know about Vince, long enough to know that you've been playing both of them against each other while lying to all of us. Sam stops crying and looks at me with something that might be respect if it weren't mixed with so much hatred. She didn't deserve to be married to a cheater any more than I deserve to be married to one. Sam stands up and starts pacing again. What about Vince's wife? She just had a baby, Eddie. You're going to destroy that family over something that didn't even mean anything. If it didn't mean anything, why did you do it? Because I was bored, because I felt trapped, because sometimes I wanted to feel like someone desired me instead of just taking me for granted. There it is. The truth finally comes out, and it's exactly what I expected. This isn't about love or loneliness or any of the other excuses she's been making. This is about selfishness, pure and simple. So you decided to fix your boredom by sleeping with 2 different men behind my back? It wasn't supposed to happen like this. It was just supposed to be some harmless flirting, maybe a few dinners. But then Paul started talking about leaving Bridget, and Vince started getting possessive, and everything got complicated. Complicated? They both thought they were the only one. I tried to end it with both of them, but they wouldn't let me go. Paul kept saying he was going to tell you everything if I didn't leave you for him. Vince kept threatening to cause problems at work. Now we're getting somewhere. Now I'm hearing something that sounds like truth instead of damage control. So you were being blackmailed by your own lovers. It wasn't blackmail, it was just pressure. They both wanted more than I was willing to give. And what were you willing to give? Sam looks at me like I'm being deliberately obtuse. What we had was fine. It was fun, it was exciting, but it wasn't supposed to change anything. I never wanted to leave you, Eddie. I just wanted something extra. Something extra.
Just that Bridget Ashford filed for divorce and your wife ain't been seen at work lately. People are putting two and two together. Let them talk. You want me to shut them up? No need. The truth has a way of coming out all by itself. I hang up and finish my coffee, thinking about what comes next. The divorce will be straightforward since we don't have kids and I can prove adultery. The house will probably have to be sold, but that's fine. Too many memories here anyway. My phone buzzes with a text message from a number I don't recognize. This is Vince. We need to talk. Meet me at the Riverside Motel at 8 p.m. The Riverside Motel. He wants to meet at the scene of the crime. Either he has a sense of irony or he's even dumber than I thought. I text back, "Why would I want to talk to you?" "Because I have information about Sam that you need to hear." Information about Sam. What could Vince possibly tell me that I don't already know? I spend the day at the shop, trying to lose myself in the familiar rhythm of diagnosis and repair. There's something satisfying about fixing things that can actually be fixed. A worn brake pad, a leaky radiator, a timing belt that's stretched beyond tolerance. These are problems with clear solutions. At 7:30, I drive to the Riverside Motel. Vince's BMW is already in the parking lot, parked in the same spot where Sam used to meet him. He's sitting in the driver's seat, and he looks like he hasn't slept in days. I park next to him and get out. He rolls down his window. "Eddie, thanks for coming." "What do you want, Vince?" "Get in. We can't talk out here." I look around the parking lot. There are a few other cars, but nobody seems to be paying attention to us. Still, Vince is right.
This isn't a conversation for public spaces. I get into the passenger seat of his BMW. It smells like expensive leather and desperation. "Nice car," I say. "Thanks. Look, Eddie, I know you hate me right now, and you have every right to. But there are things about Sam that you don't know. Things that might change how you feel about this whole situation." "I doubt that. She's not who you think she is." "She's exactly who I think she is. She's a liar and a cheat who thought she could play multiple men at the same time without consequences." Vince shakes his head. "It's more than that. She's dangerous, Eddie. She's been planning this for months." "Planning what?" "The affairs weren't random. They were calculated. She targeted Paul because he's your best friend, and she wanted to hurt you. She targeted me because I have access to company resources, and she wanted to advance her career." I lean back in the leather seat and study Vince's face. He's sweating, despite the cool evening air, and his hands are shaking slightly. "You're telling me that my wife seduced you as part of some elaborate revenge plot against me?" "Not revenge, control. She wanted to have power over both of us so she could manipulate the situation to her advantage. And you have proof of this?" Vince reaches into his jacket and pulls out a small digital recorder. "She recorded our conversations. All of them. She has hours of audio of me, about my wife, about company business. She was building blackmail material." He presses play, and I hear Sam's voice coming through the tiny speaker. "Tell me more about Eddie's business. Does he keep good records?"
"We'll make sure the adultery evidence becomes part of the public record." Do it. I spend the rest of the week waiting for Sam's reaction to my rejection of her settlement offer. It comes on Friday afternoon in the form of a visit from 2 police officers who want to ask me some questions about threatening communications I allegedly sent to my wife. Officer Martinez is young and eager, the kind of cop who still believes that every case has clear good guys and bad guys. Officer Thompson is older, more experienced, and clearly skeptical about whatever story brought them to my door. "Mr. Granger, your wife filed a complaint alleging that you've been harassing her with threatening phone calls and text messages." "I haven't called or texted my wife since she left." She also claims that you've been following her and taking photographs of her without her consent. I have photographs of my wife, yes, but they were taken before she filed any complaints, and they document her extramarital affairs. Officer Thompson's eyebrows rise slightly. Extramarital affairs? Multiple affairs. I have extensive documentation that I provided to her employer and to my divorce attorney. Officer Martinez looks confused. So you admit to taking photographs of your wife? I admit to documenting evidence of adultery for use in divorce proceedings. That's completely legal. Officer Thompson nods. Can we see this documentation? I show them copies of the photos, the GPS data, and the message threads I found on Sam's laptop. Officer Thompson studies everything carefully, while Officer Martinez shifts uncomfortably. Tom Bradley has prepared a comprehensive response that includes all of my evidence, the digital forensics report on the faked text messages, and witness statements from Mrs. Lasky, Big Jim, and Bridget Ashford. The key is to stay calm and factual, Tom advises as we walk into the courthouse. Let the evidence speak for itself. Sam is already there with her attorney, Patricia Webb, and she's dressed for maximum sympathy. Conservative business suit, minimal makeup, nervous posture. She looks like exactly what she's claiming to be, a frightened woman seeking protection from an abusive husband. Judge Harrison is a middle-aged woman with a reputation for being tough but fair. She's seen enough domestic disputes to recognize manipulation when she sees it, but she's also not going to dismiss legitimate safety concerns. Ms. Webb, please present your client's case. Patricia Webb stands and delivers a compelling narrative about a controlling husband who couldn't accept his wife's success and independence. She describes my documentation efforts as stalking, my evidence gathering as harassment, and my divorce filing as vindictive revenge. Your Honor, Mrs. Granger has been living in fear for weeks. Her husband has been following her, photographing her, and sending threatening messages. He's enlisted others to help him intimidate her, including vandalizing her workplace and sending threatening communications to her friends and family. It's a masterful performance, mixing just enough truth with just enough fiction to create a believable story. If I didn't know better, I might believe it myself. Then Tom Bradley stands up. Your Honor, I'd like to present evidence that Granger's claims are not only false, but part of a calculated campaign to manipulate these proceedings. Tom starts with the digital forensics report showing that the threatening text messages were sent using a spoofing service not from my phone. He presents phone records showing that I haven't contacted Sam directly since she left our home. Then he presents the evidence of Sam's affairs, photos, GPS data, credit card receipts, and message threads. He shows the timeline of events, demonstrating that my stalking was actually documentation of adultery for legitimate divorce proceedings. Your Honor, Mr. Granger discovered that his wife was conducting simultaneous affairs with 2 different men. He documented this evidence in preparation for divorce proceedings, which is his legal right. Mrs. Granger's claims of harassment are an attempt to discredit evidence of her own misconduct. Judge Harrison reviews the evidence carefully, asking pointed questions about the timeline and the methods I used to gather information. Mr. Granger, did you enter any private property without permission to obtain these photographs? No, Your Honor. All photos were taken from public locations or from my own property. Did you access any electronic devices or accounts belonging to your wife without her knowledge? Tom jumps in before I can answer. Your Honor, Mr. Granger accessed a laptop computer that was jointly owned and located in the marital home. The email account was logged in and accessible, and Mr. Granger had legitimate concerns about financial irregularities that he needed to investigate. It's a careful answer that avoids the question of whether I had permission while establishing that I had legitimate reasons for my actions. Judge Harrison nods and continues reviewing the evidence. When she gets to the recordings that Vince provided, her expression changes. Ms. Webb, are you familiar with these audio recordings? Patricia Webb looks confused. No, Your Honor. What recordings? Tom plays a segment where Sam can be heard coaching Vince on how to make me look bad, followed by her discussion of plans to make Eddie pay for discovering her affairs.
Your Honor, these recordings were made by one of Mrs. Granger's paramours and clearly show that she was planning to make false accusations against her husband as part of a strategy to gain advantage in divorce proceedings. Sam's face goes pale. She leans over to whisper frantically to her attorney, but the damage is done. Judge Harrison listens to several more segments, including the one where Sam discusses her plans to recruit friends to intimidate me. Ms. Webb, do you have any response to this evidence? Patricia Webb looks like someone who just realized her client has been lying to her. Your Honor, I was not aware of these recordings and would need time to review them before responding. Mr. Bradley, do you have additional evidence of Mrs. Granger's campaign of harassment against your client? Tom presents the police reports about the vandalism at my shop, the assault on Big Jim, and the fish incident on my porch. He shows the video footage of the 3 men who threatened Big Jim, along with phone records showing calls between Sam and an unknown number just hours before each incident. Your Honor, the evidence clearly shows that documented everything, stayed calm, let her hang herself with her own lies. It's gratifying to hear that public opinion is shifting in my direction, but I know better than to celebrate too early. Sam has shown a talent for manipulation and an ability to recruit allies. She's not going to accept defeat gracefully. My phone rings. It's Bridget Ashford. Eddie, I heard about the court hearing. Congratulations. Thanks. How are you holding up? Better than expected. Paul signed the divorce papers yesterday without contesting anything. I think he's finally realized that he doesn't have any leverage left. That's good news. There's something else. Sam called me last night. What did she want? She wanted to know if I would testify on her behalf at the hearing. She said you had manipulated me into filing for divorce and that Paul was innocent of any wrongdoing. What did you tell her? I told her that Paul confessed everything to me weeks ago and that I had made my own decisions based on his lies, not your evidence. I also told her that if she contacted me again, I would file harassment charges. How did she react? Like someone who's running out of options. She started crying and saying that everyone was against her, that no one understood what she was going through. Did you believe her? For about 5 seconds. Then I remembered all the lies she told and all the pain she caused, and I realized that she was just trying to manipulate me one more time. Bridget, you should know that the judge issued a restraining order against Sam. She's not supposed to contact any of us. Good. Maybe now she'll finally accept that her games are over. But Sam's games aren't over.
I'll never be able to work in this field again. Never be able to show my face in this community. You should have thought about that before you decided to wage war against me. I'll stop. I'll leave town. I'll never contact you again. Just don't do this. It's too late for deals, Sam. You had your chance to handle this quietly, and you chose to make it public. Now you get to live with the consequences of that choice. I'm begging you, please don't do this. For the first time since this whole thing started, Sam sounds genuinely frightened. Not angry, not manipulative, not calculating, just scared. Sam, you've spent months trying to destroy my reputation, my business, and my relationships. You've lied to courts, violated restraining orders, and recruited people to intimidate and threaten me. Did you really think there wouldn't be consequences? I was desperate. I made bad choices because I was scared and desperate. You made bad choices because you thought you were smarter than everyone else and that you could manipulate your way out of any situation. Maybe you're right. Maybe I deserve whatever happens to me. But Eddie, if you do this, you'll become the kind of person who destroys others for revenge. Is that really who you want to be? It's a good question, and for a moment, I almost reconsider. Then I think about the flyers distributed throughout town, the threatening phone calls, the vandalism, the lies told to police and judges. Sam, I'm not destroying you for revenge. I'm stopping you from destroying anyone else. I hang up and turn off my phone. Tomorrow evening, the entire community is going to learn the truth about Sam Granger. And after that, this nightmare will finally be over. The meeting room at Murphy's Diner is packed. It's peaceful work.
methodical and satisfying in a way that repairing engines has never been. Mrs. Lasky waves to me from her yard. "The tomatoes are looking good, Eddie." "Thanks, I'm hoping for a good harvest." "I'm sure you'll get one. You've always been good at making things grow." I think about that as I continue planting. Growth requires patience, proper conditions, and the removal of things that would compete for resources or cause damage. Sometimes you have to pull up the weeds before the good plants can flourish. My phone rings. It's Big Jim. "Boss, you got a minute?" "Sure, what's up?" "There's a woman here asking about getting her car fixed. Says she heard you do good work." "Send her back to the service bay. I'll be right there." I dust the soil off my hands and head back to work. There's always something that needs fixing, something that needs attention, something that needs care. But now I know the difference between things worth saving and things that need to be discarded. The rage that burned inside me for months has cooled into something more useful: wisdom. The volcanic fury has hardened into solid ground on which to build something better. I never did raise my voice. I never had to. Sometimes the quietest victories are the most complete.